So the week has turned really bad for Donald Trump. On top of being booed at the World Series game, on top of getting bad GDP numbers by his own standards, which I'll talk about later, despite the formalization of an impeachment inquiry against him starting to move forward in the House, despite being caught staging a Situation Room picture 90 minutes after the raid that led to the death of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi had ended, there was devastating testimony given against Donald Trump by witnesses, including testimony that mentions that there was a concerted effort to remove references to Joe Biden and the company Burisma in that, quote, transcript of Trump's July 25 phone call with the Ukrainian President Zelensky. We're covering that piece separately, so I'm not going to get into detail about it now. But needless to say, it has thrown Donald Trump into one of his tizzies, this time forcing him to burp out a series of panicked anti-impeachment rants, riddled with misspellings and all. This guy knows he's in trouble. See if you can make heads or tails out of this. Trump tweeting, Republicans are very unified and energized in our fight on the impeachment hoax with the do-nothing Democrats, and now are starting to go after the substance even more than the very unfair process, not unfair, the unfair process, because just a casual reading of the transcript leads everybody to see that the call with the Ukrainian president was a totally appropriate one. As he said, no pressure. This impeachment nonsense is just a continuation of the witch hunt hoax, which has been going on since before I even got elected. Republicans, go with substance and close it out. So understand, he's panicking because everything is happening as it should, and it's really bad for him. Nancy Pelosi and Democrats are formalizing the impeachment inquiry. They're giving him the due process that he claims to have been denied. Witnesses are coming forward and saying what they say, like, for example, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, which we'll get to. So when you look at the substance of what Trump is tweeting, it makes no sense. The process is not unfair or unfair, as Trump says. It's the same process that took place with Bill Clinton. The transcripts lead everyone to see the Ukraine call as appropriate, he claims. Well, you didn't release a transcript. You released some truncated nonsense. And even in and of itself, it was incriminating. Now it is being alleged that specific mentions of Joe Biden were removed from what you released. His continued references to that summary as a transcript, this has become one of the most frequently repeated misleading memes about this entire fiasco that he's made, that it's a witch hunt. I mean, he says that about everything. Of course, that's not true. So let's go back to the basics. Is this how an innocent person truly behaves? But as I've been saying for months, if you think that this is Trump starting to lose it, just wait if and until the public hearings begin. It will be a completely new Donald Trump altogether. The rants, the tweets, the erratic behavior, the attempts to cover up. It's going to get really, really bad. And a little bit later, I'll come back to the testimony from Alexander Vindman. Due cappucci, per favore. Grazie mille. One of our sponsors making the David Pakman Show possible is Babbel, the language learning app, and you'll get 25% off a subscription to Babbel when you click the link under this video. Babbel was founded in 2007 and now has over 1 million paying subscribers worldwide as one of the world's leading language learning apps. Their learning method has been examined numerous times in scientific studies, including one at Yale in 2019, which found that 100% of participants who used Babbel were able to improve their oral proficiency with a new language within just 3 months. Research found that users learning Spanish on Babbel only needed to use the app for an average of 15 hours over a 2-month period to cover the requirements for 1 college semester of Spanish. I recently went to Italy and used Babbel to brush up on my Italian for a few weeks leading up to the trip. And I was actually surprised at how much I was able to absorb in such a short amount of time. After practicing Italian on the Babbel app, I was able to hold some conversations with locals in Italy. I could understand a lot more of the Italian that I was hearing. And the progress I made was extremely inspiring in keeping me going and continuing to use the app to get even better. I'm also about to use the app to start learning German, which I'm looking forward to. I really would recommend Babbel to anyone who watches our show, and you can save 25% on a subscription to Babbel when you click the link right underneath this video.